Welcome to another peek at the future. We've not had one of these for a while, but I thought we'd better look at all the changes that have been going on the PTS server. So in this edition, we're looking at the Spitfire turret testing, the Banshee balance testing, UI changes, a little mini test at the Vulcan, the new holiday knife, the icy kill, and mouse steer on vehicles. Bit of a weird on that, but we'll check that out. Spitfire turret, named obviously after John Q. Spitfire Turret, the original inventor of them. Coincidentally, also the name of the turrets from Planetside 1 as well. The model's in now, so you can see what it's going to look like, or we can take a guess at what the developers were thinking it should look like. Still subject to change, of course. But I think it looks quite neat. No problem with that at all. Just see me deploying one here. The deploy animation doesn't play. Just a little bug. And you can see there's a sort of red light underneath that actually flashes on and off, but it falls off quite quickly at distance. I think that'll probably need some tuning. Enemy vehicles, it doesn't bother with, but if you were to get out of that vehicle, it would certainly start firing at you. So some testing. You can see that it doesn't track that fast. In fact, if you can get ahead of its turning, it's quite easy for it to just constantly scan for you. But if you get too close to the actual model, it seems like it actually kills you. I don't know if that's as designed or a bug. We shall find out. So you can see me there actually firing on that friendly turret. You can't anger them in that way, so it won't start firing on you if you accidentally fire at them. As you can see, there's a Stalker Cloak Infiltrator. Turrets don't bother with them at all, even when moving, even when, you know, fairly clearly visible. The turrets don't bother with them still. And you can see the rough damage per second there. Up against one, it's not that bad, to be honest. If there's a couple in close proximity, it starts to become an issue. So a little bit of testing. You can see a bit of a physics fail here, as the grenade gets stuck in, well, nothing. But the turret doesn't bother that at all. Similarly, ammo pack on the ground doesn't bother. Proximity mine on the ground doesn't bother that at all. I trigger it to see if there's any effect, none at all. Same with tracer darts, no effect there either. Shackle here, the king of PTS, displaying the fact that you can in fact ram them with vehicles. So if they were on, say, the ground level of an amp station, and you're shield diffusing in with a Sunderer, you could in fact run some over. I've changed over to VS now, and this is actually quite interesting. These are the decoy nades, and they are very effective against turrets. They seem to track decoy nades over everything else that I've seen. So they're still mad on that decoy nade, but as soon as that decoy nade goes, they're back to tracking enemies again. But even if you get really close to it, it still wants to go for that decoy nade. So decoy nades actually have a real purpose now. But as we saw previously, if you get too close, the turret can still kill you. Again with a decoy nade. And as you can see, it prioritises the newer decoy nade. Even if the old one hasn't sort of disappeared yet, they're straight into the new one. And their health is not very high. As you can see, Infiltrator can easily take one out when it's distracted. In actual fact, even a beamer can take one out. So EMP grenades are very effective. You can see there's a slight lag as it becomes active, and then if you EMP it, you can get a nice animation there showing that it's been hit by the EMP and is offline temporarily. So here we look at smoke, and as you'll find out, smoke has no effect at all on turrets. So it's a line of sight thing, but that does not respect smoke. One other thing, as it doesn't trap people inside of vehicles, people on the back of flashes, they are similarly safe from turrets. So if you're in the back of a flash with a rocket launcher, you're fine. The turret isn't currently bothering with you at all. Small look at the Banshee. My opinion of this, it looks like if you're still accurate, it's kind of okay. But that splash that was there, that feels like it's really not present at all now. I believe the splash wasn't totally toned down, but from a small bit of testing, it only felt like when the rounds actually hit me, did I die to it. This clip also doesn't feature the new sound. I couldn't get on PTS for the big turret test because it was crashing for me, but I believe there is a new Banshee-like sound as well. Some UI changes. Here are the banners that are going in. You'll see that Pterodactyl on Twitter posted some particularly wonderful banners. I don't know if they're going to go live or not. I would think there's a lot of support for the Dog Overload one. But in the holiday event section, there's been some updates as well. I don't believe we've had a side scroller in these sections before. But you can see there's now a Flash, Harasser, Lightning, Sunderer and Prowler bow that's now in that list. And I don't know if you spotted the Easter egg beforehand, but Shackles Sunderer actually has one of those bows on the front of it on PTS already. So that's how they're going to look. The death screen, a few changes as well. Looks a bit more solid now. I'm guessing those banners from the profile are going to be stuck behind the kill messages now. I think that's quite nice as a way of identifying people. Also, if they're going to be like outfit specific as well, that'd be quite neat. Very small test of the Vulcan. It felt effective, really. It takes about 1.5 magazines to take down this Vanguard in the side armor. It felt viable. New knife, a little bit lackluster in some ways. That same kind of transparent blade thing going on. The icy kill. Guess it's just one of the objects to use during the holidays event. No special sound that was on PTS currently, and no activation either. So mouse steer on vehicles. Keep in mind when I'm driving this tank, I'm not using the side arrow keys at all. All I'm pressing is forward. All the steering comes from the position of the camera. So as I turn the camera, the hull moves to try and turn with that. Feels pretty strange, and as you'll see in a second, it gets also fairly confused when you reverse. So this is me just going side to side and letting the hull do that. If you brake with the turret not in line, it then swings the hull round in a strange way and then starts driving sort of towards the camera because you're hitting brake, which then turns into reverse. It's a little bit strange. It needs some work. I can see some people finding it more natural for them for driving, but it felt a little bit strange. It felt a lot more natural on the ESF here, so I'm not rolling the ESF with the mouse normally. That's just from mouse look. As you look down, it actually rolled the mozzie around. It felt much more natural here. I don't have a huge problem with it if it was an option just to turn it on for aircraft. I can see some people actually quite liking it. It also stops that feeling of being out of control when you're in a mozzie using mouse look, that sort of slightly strange feeling. Quite liked it actually in the mozzie. On the harasser, this is a bit strange as well. You can see that the harasser is handling normally, but you'll notice I'm not moving the camera at all. Moving the camera currently on PTS cancels out that steering. So now as I drive back, I'm doing the same with the keys, but I'm moving the camera at the same time, and as you can see, it's pretty much nullifying any directional change on that harasser. I'm sure this is just a bug that's to get worked out, but we shall see what goes to live. I'm liking some features of this, but it's going to need some tuning before it goes live. And finally, with my opinion with the turrets, what I'd do, I'd buff them in terms of damage so that one turret is more deadly. I'd buff them in terms of health so that they are a lot more survivable, but I'd put a deploy area around them so that you couldn't stack them up. That'd be my suggestion. Thank you very much for watching. A little bit of a gap since the last one of these, I apologise for that. Just a bit of seasonal flu. As you can tell, my voice still isn't quite back to normal, but getting there now, getting there. So thank you very much for all the support, all your messages, all your watches on the videos, very much appreciated. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave some feedback, and if you didn't, please just tell me why in the comment below. I'd be interested to know. Thank you very much again. I'll see you next time. Take care.